Sagittarius. You're seeking caregiving harmony, astrological paths to wellness. When caring turns chaotic, there are days when you wake before dawn, Sagittarius, already aware of the weight waiting for you. A parent's medication to organize, a child's school project to finish. The steady rhythm of doing, tending, remembering, repeating. Your mind hums like a motor you can't turn off. Even when your body aches for quiet, your heart whispers just one more thing. You were once the woman who looked at life as an adventure, who trusted the wind to guide her. Now you move through your days in carefully measured steps, trying not to fall behind. This is what the world calls caregiving, the sacred yet heavy role of those in the sandwich generation. But beneath that title lives a more complex truth. You are a Sagittarius, a soul born under Jupiter's vast and generous sky, a seeker who thrives on movement, meaning, and freedom. And yet, in this season of your life, the call of duty feels louder than the call of your own spirit. Statistics may frame it neatly: nearly half of adults in midlife, about 47% in the US, are caring for both aging parents and growing children. In Europe, reports predict that by 2050, caregiving demands on women will nearly double, as populations age and families shrink. But numbers cannot capture the quiet ache of it, the way your laughter feels different now, how your shoulders stay tense even in rest, how your dreams have begun to gather dust on the shelf of someday. You still believe in hope because you always do. Sagittarius never loses faith entirely. She only forgets where to look for it. But lately, optimism feels fragile, like a candle flickering in the wind. You catch yourself longing for a single day without responsibility, for the simple act of waking up without a to-do list tugging at your spirit. And yet, within this longing lies your power. Because even now, amid fatigue and overwhelm, Jupiter, your cosmic guardian, is guiding you toward a deeper understanding of harmony. Jupiter's energy is benevolent, expansive, and wise. It reminds you that balance isn't born from control, but from alignment. That care, when infused with meaning, transforms from burden to devotion. This moment in your life is not meant to shrink you. It is meant to refine you. It is teaching you to find freedom not in escape, but in awareness, to discover that you can be devoted and free, grounded and expansive, responsible and radiant, all at once. Astrology is not here to erase your exhaustion. It's here to help you see it differently, to show you that the stars themselves hold patterns of rest and movement, contraction and expansion, just like you do. When you move in rhythm with those patterns, Jupiter's cycles, lunar tides, planetary alignments, you begin to remember what wellness truly means. Not the absence of stress, but the presence of harmony. So take a breath, Sagittarius. Feel your chest rise and fall. Somewhere deep inside that breath, the old you still lives, the philosopher, the dreamer, the woman who believes that even in chaos there is order. This is where your healing begins, not by running from care, but by rediscovering how to care with peace. I breathe with the rhythm of the universe. I care with love, not fear. My freedom begins in the balance I create. Chapter 1: The Sagittarius Conflict. Freedom versus responsibility. There's a special ache that lives in the heart of every Sagittarius woman who has ever felt torn between what she must do and what her soul longs to do. You've always been the one who thrived on exploration, not just of places but of ideas, of emotions, of purpose itself. You once found joy in discovery, in saying yes to spontaneity, in trusting that life would always provide another horizon. But lately your world has narrowed. The horizon is closer now, filled with family needs, financial worries, and the endless loop of caregiving. You still love deeply, there's no question about that. You care for your aging parents with tenderness. You show up for your children with devotion. Yet underneath that devotion lies a quiet tension, an internal tug of war. A part of you longs to stretch your wings, to remember what it feels like to be guided by curiosity rather than obligation. But guilt often silences that longing. You tell yourself it's selfish to want space, to crave freedom when others depend on you. And so you keep moving, keep caring, keep smiling, even as the exhaustion seeps deeper into your spirit. Sagittarius, this is your paradox. Your soul was born for expansion, yet your life right now demands containment. It's a conflict not just of schedule but of essence. Your sign is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of generosity, hope, and boundless growth. When that energy is stifled, when your world becomes too small, it doesn't disappear, it turns inward. It becomes restlessness, anxiety, or that faint but constant hum of unease. Studies confirm what your heart already knows. In the United States, nearly half of adults in midlife, especially women, juggle dual caregiving roles, and their rates of anxiety and burnout are significantly higher than average. In the European Union, research links prolonged caregiving to increased blood pressure, emotional numbness, and chronic fatigue. But astrology gives these statistics a deeper language. For Sagittarius, burnout is not simply exhaustion. It is the body's way of mourning lost spaciousness. Your body misses the rhythm of freedom, the long walks, the laughter, the wide-open skies. Your mind misses philosophy, the kind of thought that lifts you beyond the daily grind and reminds you of meaning. Without those, your flame flickers. But here's what Jupiter wants you to remember. Freedom and responsibility are not enemies. They are partners in your evolution. What weighs on you now is also shaping you, teaching you how to live your philosophy, not just think it. This period of constraint is not a punishment for being loving or dutiful. It's an initiation into higher consciousness, a lesson in balancing expansion with empathy. To move through this conflict, start with truth, the highest Sagittarian virtue. Admit to yourself that you are tired, that you sometimes resent the constant demands, that you miss your own company. Let that truth rise to the surface without shame. Honesty for you is not rebellion, it's release. It's the first breath of freedom returning. Then practice small acts of spaciousness. It could be a 5-minute sunrise ritual, where you stand outside and breathe deeply before the day begins. It could be reading a few pages of a book that nourishes your mind instead of your to-do list. It could even be saying "not today" when your heart needs quiet. These are not escapes. They are recalibrations. Each one reminds your spirit that it still belongs to the sky, even while your feet remain grounded in care. You may also begin to notice that your need for freedom is not selfish. It's sacred. When you tend to it, your care becomes more conscious, more peaceful, more sustainable. When you neglect it, love becomes martyrdom, and duty becomes depletion. Jupiter teaches that balance is not found in doing more. It's found in seeing differently. So when the noise of life grows loud, close your eyes for a moment and imagine the archer, your symbol. She stands tall, steady, her bow drawn, her arrow ready. Her focus is not frantic, it's calm. Her aim is not escape, it's clarity. That's you, Sagittarius. Not trapped by duty but guided by awareness. Whisper this to yourself when you feel the tension rise. I can care and still be free. I can give and still belong to myself. Because that's the truth Jupiter has been trying to show you all along. Responsibility doesn't erase your spirit, it refines it. And as you begin to honor that truth, your inner horizon starts to widen once more. Chapter 2: Jupiter's Benevolence. Expanding harmony through timing. There is a reason Jupiter is called the Great Benefic. Not because it shields you from difficulty, but because it offers meaning in the middle of it. For Sagittarius, Jupiter's influence is a living rhythm, a reminder that everything, even chaos, has its cycle. You were born under this planet's light, carrying within you the gift of faith that life, in its vastness, always finds balance. But when caregiving pressures take over, that faith can begin to fracture. You start to believe that peace belongs to another time, another version of yourself. Yet Jupiter whispers otherwise. Harmony is not a reward for when things calm down. It's a practice you can live right now. When responsibilities pile high, your instinct may be to power through them. Sagittarius energy loves momentum. Forward motion feels like control. But Jupiter teaches that growth also happens through pauses. This planet expands what it touches, yes, but it also magnifies what you focus on. When you focus only on survival, life responds with more of the same. When you shift even slightly toward awareness, toward seeing care as connection rather than confinement, Jupiter opens space where stress once lived. To make this real, let's bring it down from the stars to the everyday. Jupiter's transits act like emotional tides. Times of ease, times of reflection, times of renewal. By understanding these rhythms, you can work with life instead of against it. When Jupiter forms a trine or sextile to your sun or moon, your optimism and confidence naturally rise. These are the periods to delegate, to ask for help, to schedule restorative activities that bring joy back into your care routine. You might notice more synchronicities, a neighbor offering assistance, a sibling calling at the right moment, or simply waking up lighter. These are Jupiter's gentle nudges saying, let it flow, not force. When Jupiter is in opposition or square to your natal planets, energy can feel scattered. You may overextend yourself, overpromise, or take on too much in the name of love. During these transits, Jupiter isn't punishing you. It's inviting humility. It's teaching you to discern between generosity and self-sacrifice. Instead of pushing harder, practice containment. Simplify tasks, postpone what can wait, say no without guilt. This is expansion through boundaries, the wisdom of a fire that knows when to rest its flame. And when Sagittarius season returns each year, your energy reawakens. This is your natural time of renewal. When the sun's light reactivates Jupiter's essence in your soul, it's an ideal moment to reset intentions. Reflect on what balance means to you now, not what it meant years ago. Your definition of freedom has matured. Your joy has roots now. Let Sagittarius season become your personal new year. Not for resolutions, but for alignment. For practical grounding, create a simple transit wellness plan. Once a month, spend 10 quiet minutes checking Jupiter's movement through your chart. Notice whether it touches personal planets or houses connected to health, 6th house, home 4th, or identity, 1st. Then set intentions aligned with its motion. During harmonious aspects, focus on expansion, learning, community, laughter. During heavier ones, prioritize rest, solitude, and simplicity. If you don't follow charts regularly, no problem. You can still honor Jupiter's rhythm through mindfulness. Thursday, the day sacred to Jupiter, is your weekly reset. Dedicate it to something uplifting. A walk at sunrise, journaling gratitude, or even just pausing for 10 deep breaths between tasks. As you breathe, imagine golden light filling your chest, expanding gently with each inhale. Jupiter's energy lives in that light, benevolent, warm, and forgiving. Science echoes this celestial truth. Studies show that caregivers who build small, consistent rituals of mindfulness experience reduced anxiety and better sleep. When you synchronize those moments with cosmic timing, Jupiter's transits or lunar phases, you create a double harmony. Body and sky moving as one. Remember, Sagittarius, Jupiter doesn't demand perfection. It only asks for participation. You don't need to escape your responsibilities to feel expansive. You only need to see that they are part of your soul's greater curriculum. A living classroom where you are learning the art of compassionate freedom. Each challenge, each tired evening, each act of love given from an honest place, all of it becomes an offering to Jupiter. And in return, Jupiter gives perspective, gently reminding you, you are never trapped in care. You are orbiting love. So the next time you look at your crowded calendar, don't see it as a cage. See it as a constellation, a design with rhythm and purpose. You are still the archer, Sagittarius. You are still guided by stars. The only difference now is that your arrow no longer chases escape. It seeks harmony. And as you begin to live this new rhythm, you will feel it. Your breath deepen, your faith steady, your days soften. That is Jupiter's gift. Harmony through awareness, freedom through time. Chapter 3: Paths to Wellness. Fire sign healing in daily life. You've begun to sense it, the quiet turning within. Jupiter's wisdom has reminded you that harmony isn't something to chase. It's something to build, moment by moment, through presence. For a Sagittarius woman, healing must always have movement, meaning, and a touch of adventure. You are fire, restless, passionate, visionary, and your wellness depends on keeping that flame alive, even amid the responsibilities that fill your days. But how do you restore your energy when life keeps asking for more? The answer isn't found in doing less. It's in doing differently. It's in transforming care from a series of obligations into a living practice of awareness, purpose, and joy. Start small and start sacred. Before the world begins to pull at you each morning, claim 5 quiet minutes as your own. Step outside if you can. The sunrise belongs to Sagittarius. Feel the air shift, the gold light stretch across the horizon. Inhale slowly, letting the warmth of that light fill your chest. Exhale whatever heaviness you carried from yesterday. This isn't just a breath. It's a declaration. My day begins with me. Because your sign thrives on exploration, one of the simplest ways to heal is through curiosity. Feed your mind with ideas that expand your heart. Keep a book by your bedside. Not a how-to manual, but something that nourishes your spirit. Read philosophers who speak of meaning like Marcus Aurelius or Thich Nhat Hanh. Let their words become quiet companions reminding you that wisdom and calm can coexist, even in chaos. If you can, weave micro moments of movement through your day. When you cook, sway gently to music. When you fold laundry, roll your shoulders, stretch your spine. Movement transforms monotony into meditation. Each gesture becomes a prayer. I am still alive in my body. I am still here. Then, honor your fire element through ritual. Once a week, ideally on a Thursday, Jupiter's day, create a freedom hour. Light a candle and imagine its flame as your inner vitality. As it burns, list 3 moments in the past week where you felt even a flicker of joy or gratitude. It could be your mother's laughter, your child's hug, a quiet evening walk. These acknowledgments feed the flame. When the candle burns low, whisper, "My fire renews through awareness, not escape." Sagittarius energy also craves wide skies. And when travel isn't possible, imagination becomes your passport. Try what I call virtual wandering. Listen to global music, explore a new culture's cuisine, watch travel documentaries, or learn a few words of another language. These small acts satisfy your sign's instinct for discovery and remind your spirit that the world is still vast. Even when your daily life feels narrow, the earth offers you allies for your renewal. Crystals like citron, turquoise, and amethyst vibrate with your essence. Courage, calm, clarity. Keep one near your bedside or in your pocket, and when your energy feels low, hold it in your palm while breathing deeply. Let its stillness remind you of your own center. Herbs can also help your body mirror your cosmic nature. Sip ginger tea to awaken warmth, rosemary to sharpen focus, or lemon balm when anxiety flickers too high. Treat these not as quick fixes but as rituals of care, small pauses that tell your body, "I honor you." As you integrate these fire sign practices, you'll notice subtle shifts. Your breath becomes steadier, your nights more restful. Tasks that once felt heavy start to flow. This isn't magic. It's alignment. You are syncing your daily rhythm with Jupiter's generous current. Remember, Sagittarius, wellness for you doesn't mean stillness. It means movement with meaning. It's the laughter shared after a hard day, the song you hum in traffic, the dream you write in your journal before bed. It's the permission to be human, devoted, yes, but not diminished. Every act of awareness you bring into your caregiving transforms it from a cycle of depletion into a rhythm of love. You begin to feel less like a servant of circumstance and more like a conscious participant in the dance of life, moving with Jupiter's beat, glowing with your own inner flame. When the day ends, return again to that flame. Light a candle or simply close your eyes and imagine the warmth in your chest. Whisper softly, "My care is sacred. My energy is renewable. I give from balance, not from emptiness. My fire is steady, my heart is free." And in that moment of stillness, you'll feel it, the spark of Sagittarius rising again. Calm yet alive, radiant even in responsibility. Chapter 4: Stories of Balance and Renewal. There is something deeply healing about hearing another woman say, "Me too." For Sagittarius, whose soul thrives on shared stories and collective wisdom, connection itself becomes medicine. You are not meant to walk through life's challenges in silence. Your spirit expands through exchange, through conversation, through truth spoken aloud. And perhaps that is why this chapter exists, to remind you that your journey toward caregiving harmony is not solitary. There are countless archers walking beside you, finding balance in their own ways, learning to breathe again beneath Jupiter's watchful light. Take Claire, for instance, a Sagittarius teacher from Portland who spent years juggling her mother's medical care and her teenage son's needs. "I thought exhaustion was just part of love," she said softly during one of our calls. "But I was wrong. Love is not meant to hollow you out." It was during her Jupiter return, a once every 12 years cycle of renewal, that she began to shift. She noticed opportunities appearing almost magically. A community caregiver group starting nearby, a flexible work option she had never considered, a sudden openness in her family to share responsibilities. "It was like the universe waited for me to ask for help," she laughed. "And when I did, Jupiter responded." Then there's Lucia, a Sagittarius nurse in Madrid. 4 years, she carried both her elderly father's care and her twin daughter's schooling on her shoulders. During one particularly difficult winter, she began journaling with the moon, something she had read in an astrology column. Each new moon she wrote her intentions, patience, health, harmony. Each full moon she released her fears. Over time, she realized that these lunar rituals were giving her back her breath. I couldn't stop working, she said, but I could stop fighting myself. I began to trust the rhythm of the cosmos more than the rhythm of my anxiety. And then there's Evelyn, a Sagittarius writer from Scotland, who created what she calls her Thursday Faith Hour. Every Jupiter day she would make tea, light a small candle, and read one page of philosophy, Marcus Aurelius, Rumi, or sometimes a line of poetry. It became a quiet rebellion, she smiled. For 1 hour I was not a caregiver. I was a soul. Over time that hour became her anchor. She found herself calmer during family crises, more patient with her children, more forgiving with herself. It's strange, she said, but the more I gave myself space, the better I became at caring for everyone else. These stories are not grand or dramatic. They are the quiet revolutions of women who remembered themselves in the midst of giving. Each one found her balance not through escape, but through awareness, the Jupiterian art of expanding perspective until even duty becomes sacred. You might not have the same circumstances as Claire, Lucia, or Evelyn, but their journeys echo your own truth. That harmony is not granted, it's cultivated. It grows from small acts of courage, from saying no without guilt, from resting without apology, from trusting that life supports you when you choose balance over burnout. If you listen closely, Sagittarius, you'll hear Jupiter's message threading through each story. Faith is not naive optimism. It's the quiet knowing that meaning exists, even when life feels messy. You are part of this constellation of women, connected through care, courage, and cosmic curiosity. Across time zones and cultures, you share the same heartbeat of hope, the same wish to love fully without losing yourself. When one of you finds balance, that vibration ripples outward, helping another do the same. Try this gentle evening ritual to honor that connection. Light a candle, close your eyes, and imagine a vast night sky. Each star represents a woman like you. Caregivers, healers, dreamers, their lights flickering with fatigue and faith alike. As you exhale, send your breath into that sky, offering your warmth to them. As you inhale, imagine their light returning to you. A cycle of giving and receiving, perfectly balanced, endlessly flowing. Then whisper softly, I am not alone in this journey. My care is part of a greater constellation. Together we shine brighter than before. Let the candle burn for a few minutes before gently extinguishing it. Feel the soft afterglow. That is Jupiter's blessing, shared through sisterhood. Your story of caregiving harmony is still unfolding, Sagittarius. But it no longer has to unfold in isolation. You are learning through every small act of awareness that balance is not a finish line. It's a rhythm. It hums quietly within you now, steady and golden, like Jupiter's eternal orbit. And as you rise tomorrow to care, to give, to live, know that your fire burns a little differently now. Not in chaos but in calm, not in exhaustion but in faith. Conclusion: the archer's new balance. When the night grows still and the weight of the day begins to fade, you can finally hear what's been whispering beneath all the noise. Balance was never something to find. It was something to remember. It was always within you, waiting patiently beneath the layers of duty, worry, and self-forgetting. You were never truly lost, Sagittarius, only momentarily buried beneath your generosity. Now, standing where you are, you understand what Jupiter has been teaching you all along. Harmony isn't the absence of pressure, but the presence of meaning. You can care deeply without collapsing under the weight of it. You can give without emptying yourself. You can love others while still honoring the wild, luminous truth of who you are. In the beginning, caregiving felt like a cage, a narrowing of everything you once knew as freedom. But Jupiter has turned that cage into a classroom. Every repetition, every moment of exhaustion, every tear you hid has been a lesson in perspective, compassion, and patience. Through it, you've learned that expansion isn't always a grand adventure. Sometimes it's a soft exhale at the end of a long day. A silent knowing that even here, you are growing. You are no longer the restless wanderer who believed freedom lived in the distance. You've become the wise archer, grounded, discerning, capable of aiming your energy with intention. You don't need to run to find yourself anymore. You simply need to breathe and return to center. The horizon, once a faraway dream, now lives quietly within your chest. There will still be days when fatigue visits, when chaos knocks at your door. But now you carry the tools of the cosmos, the insight of Jupiter, the rhythm of the moon, the sacred rituals that remind you that your spirit and your duties can coexist. You know how to pause, how to listen, how to create space for joy even in the middle of care. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself standing beneath a vast twilight sky. You hold your bow loosely, your breath steady. The air is cool, the stars bright. In this stillness you sense the pulse of the universe, the same pulse that beats in your own heart. Jupiter's golden light surrounds you, soft but strong, a reminder that you are part of something infinite. You draw your arrow not to flee but to focus. You release it into the horizon, and instead of rushing forward you smile. Because this time the arrow is not leaving you. It's guiding you home. Whisper to yourself, "My care is sacred but it does not define me. My fire burns steady, not frantic. My love expands and so does my peace. I am free, even here, even now." As those words settle, feel how the air around you softens. That is Jupiter's grace moving through your life. Not as luck, but as alignment. You are the archer reborn, wiser, steadier, luminous. Your freedom no longer depends on distance. It blooms in awareness. You have found harmony not by escaping your responsibilities, but by weaving your soul back into them. And in that weaving, something beautiful has emerged. A new rhythm, gentle and sure, where care and joy dance as one. So breathe deeply, Sagittarius. The world will still ask for your love, but now you give it with balance. The stars still move, but now you move with them. In rhythm, in wisdom, in grace. This is your new balance, your new truth, your quiet revolution. Not running away from life, but finally beautifully living it.